Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Good Keyboard Friends podcast. This is episode 40. So you can get an ARP discount, even though you don't have to be a certain age to get an ARP discount. I figured it out, but this is Hubert the Mad, and Simon, Tangus, and James couldn't join us for this episode today. So I recruited two fantastic keyboard friends. I recruited Sip. Hello, Sip.
Hello.
And I recorded Bull. Hello, Bull.
Hello.
And Bull, who are those cats for the audio listeners?
Yeah, we have two extra guests here, Grayson and CJ, which you can see. There's Grayson, and then CJ's just out of it. CJ.
Oh,
hello. There she is.
So cute. I see them on your streams, but we were talking earlier before we started about how I have not seen your new area, your new place since you moved in. So
yeah, it's much. It's nice to have a window in here. My old office didn't really have a window, so it's a nice improvement.
Yeah. How long does it take you to get everything together and move, or was it super quick?
Oh, it was kind of bad. Well, because I had to move all the Bull keyboard stuff too, so we took like 3 or 4 trips here. So it was a couple weekends, but it was it's kind of fun to move.
Yeah,
once it's done.
Do you foresee yourself moving again in the near future, or not?
We'll probably live in this city for a while, so if we do move, it won't be as annoying. So
yeah. Oh,
there she is.
CJ. Yeah. This is so cute.
No, they're not supposed to be on the shelf.
Hey, if people get I know they're your personal boards, but if anybody gets cat hairs in their boards,
they can clone them.
Yeah. Before we get into it, I want to ask both of you how you've been doing. What have you been up to? It doesn't have to be keyboard related at all. It can be, or it could just be life related since we're in the holiday season.
It's been pretty busy. 3 months, I guess. Yeah, 3 months at this point. Been staying away from home for a while, doing work, traveling a little bit, mainly working. But yeah, it's been fun. Holidays are coming up, so I gotta get back home to see the family. But yeah, it's been quite the trip the past 3 months. Been to China, been to Japan mainly. Went to a lot of keyboard meetups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple of meetups here in Japan. More coming up next year, so I'm already planning the next trips.
Oh, dude. Again, for those of you that remember from the Cipulot episode, the first or the second episode we had Sip, because the first he was a guest co-host.
Yeah.
You like to tie in work and I'm going to China for work. I might as well also make a trip out of it. Yeah. So is it anything that you can reveal to us? If not, that's totally fine. Like in terms of work.
In terms of work, I mean, I'm not sure when the podcast will come out, but when I was in China 2 days ago, we were taking pictures and meeting with the factory for the Enso-E. It's a clever keyboards, clever keys project. It's actually running today, at least for me, because it's already Monday for me. It's probably one of the most exciting projects that I worked on in the past few months. And then there's the whole Dynacap ecosystem, working on PCBs for it, PCBs for other projects. So yeah, I've been pretty busy. Then there's also other secret redacted stuff that we cannot talk about. But yeah, it was a very, very productive. I'd say the last month was probably the busiest one out of them all.
I love the things that I'm gonna say you, because it's thanks to you that Dynacap is a thing, or at least a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit. The parts are designed by Clever, so the mechanical design and all of that. I'm more of a back end guy, giving feedback, ideas, all of that. But yeah, it's been quite interesting, quite the journey. And hopefully people will like the board.
Yeah.
People sure do like the parts. It seems there are some issues here and there, as usual with productions, but they're being addressed. So the next batch is going to be perfect.
I love it. I love it. I don't want to take too much time because you guys have awesome things to say, but I love how Omnitype is. I'm not gonna say following in Canon Key's footsteps, but I love it when the bigger vendors do these. I'm not gonna say like non-normie boards, but this is clearly a cool passion project, right? It's not like trying to beat China to the bottom, right?
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
The price reflects it. It's not like super duper expensive, I'd say, for a design of this this kind, but it's not the usual $150 board. There's a lot of material involved, a lot of design involved. The layout is not for everyone. So I'd say the layout itself would filter out a lot of people. But funnily enough, I've seen way more people interested than I thought in the beginning.
Yeah.
Simply because they see the board, it's so weird. The ergo style, and it's an HHKB, but it's not an HHKB. There's this separated space bars. That's another thing that people are like, oh, that's interesting. I never tried it. Then they go into the design and they're like, oh, I really like the design and all that. So it's been quite interesting to see how my perception of the market changed and was changed by feedback. I was pleasantly surprised by the feedback on the board itself.
That's awesome, dude. And then as you know, as the audience may or may not know, CIP is behind the CCRSEX PCB.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that is a Black Simon thing, right?
Yeah, we're doing even for that one. I was expecting less units for the pledge period.
Yeah.
Like personally, I know that people usually say, "Oh, I want big boards. I want this layout and this other layout." But as we all know, when it comes to actually putting in the money for like a group buy or a pre-order, whatever, less than 50% of people have said, "Oh yeah, I want to buy it." They don't show up.
Yep.
But I was actually surprised to see the numbers for the project. For the podcast listeners, we are showing off the product page, and we have a very out-to-date
I'm sorry.
PCB. the PCB will be fine. It will be proper.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome, dude. I am so happy that it's getting a lot of attention as well. Yeah, it's a cool board. Hey, if the video watchers notice something interesting about how this is done, let me share it again. This was designed or inspired by our other guest co-host here. Bull ran this with DCS blanks.
Oh,
right? Bull blanks?
Yes.
The idea.
The pledge. Yeah. It's
what is this whole idea?
Yeah, well, basically I wanted to do the DCS blanks because if you guys don't know, basically Signature Plastics they'll make a project for one unit or however many, but like unlike GMK or some other manufacturers, you can get really like a lot of different quotes basically. So like you could do like 25, 50, 100, etc. So I was like, I don't know how many you're going to sell, right? But I want to make it affordable basically and like kind of make it a passion. I just wanted the blanks basically for as cheap as possible for me. So I was like, okay, what's a good way to do that? I'm going to basically just take the quote. I shared the quote publicly and then said, I'm going to add, I forgot how much. I think it was like $8 or something like that to the cost. And then basically just had people pay $10 during the 2-week group buy period. And then at the end, I just invoiced everybody the balance. And then it ended up, the MOQ I set was 25, but then we ended up selling 500. So It went above expectations, and it ended up only costing $44 per kit. So it's like it worked out really nice because it's like instead of costing 85 or whatever it would have been, it was only 44. So it's kind of win-win for everybody. But I think it's a really nice. And I was talking to Simon about it, and he was worried about people not like staying committed. But then it looks like people are coming out for the CCRSEX, so that's great. I think it's a great way to run projects, especially if it's something you just want to make happen, you know, like if you're not interested in making a profit and you're really passionate about the project, I think there's not really a better way to run it, especially when you can get like leveled pricing like that, like you can with keyboards. So
right. And this is not a new idea, but it has not been as popular recently, but it's what Massdrop used to do,
Yep.
right? The tiering thing. You buy more of a thing, the price goes down.
Yep.
That's awesome. Bull, what have you been up
Good
to?
old times.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, like we mentioned,
the
I guess
flashbacks.
I moved to Madison now, so before I've lived in smaller towns, so we didn't really have any keyboard scene, but here there's actually keyboard people. So I got to go to a meetup here. I guess I've been Cipulot here. I've been going to meetups, and then in October I went to the Novel Keys meetup. So that was really fun because we went to a couple of us flew to one friend's house, and then we all carpooled 6.5 hours up to West Virginia and for the meetup, and it was really great to meet a lot of people there that I've kind of known just online or whatever. Like you got to meet Alex, Mike, like the Novel Keys guys. So it was really nice this year. We got to see Clever. Typed on the Enso-E. So I think that was one of the highlights of the meetups for me, was seeing Clever stuff, because I feel like every time I see him, he has like 4 new things. So like it's always exciting to go see his table, because like at least for me, I feel like sometimes I end up bringing the same stuff, but I guess mostly if meetups are close, like behind each other. But like go to Clever's table and he's got 6 new keyboards out there. Oh, what's this? So yeah, that was really fun. And I guess non-keyboard related, I started getting into like indoor rock climbing, so got another hobby. So I don't just do keyboards, I guess, which is probably healthy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, just working on projects. Right now I have a little bit of a gap between fulfillment. I'm waiting. I just got like 2,500 pounds worth of stuff is at customs right now. So once that comes, I'll be hunkered down shipping stuff, but I got a little bit of a break here.
Man, that's awesome. Am I misremembering, Sip, but you also enjoy rock climbing or like bouldering? Didn't you say that one time? No? Okay. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Dude, is it the bouldering where it's not super high, or is it the style where you actually have to rappel down? Somebody has to rappel you down.
I like doing both of them. Like typically, like if I'm just gonna go to the gym alone, though, it's a lot easier to boulder because like the auto belays kind of there's only so many auto belay routes, so they get boring.
Man. I can't do the bouldering thing is 100% fun. I can't do the heights, man.
You're always scared of heights, yeah. For some reason, for me, I'm scared of heights, but then once I'm like in the harness, I don't know, I feel like comfortable. But like I've done like roofing or whatever, you know, or like painting a house where I was high up on like scaffolding. I was like, don't look down, because I wasn't like tied onto it. But like if I'm like climbing with the harness, I'm like, oh, like if I fall, surely the harness will save me. Maybe it's a little delusional, but I feel way more comfortable up there.
Oh, no, you trust in your gear, right?
Yeah,
and that's how you should be. Oh, that's great. Well, I'm super excited for both of you to be here, and thank you, by the way, the audience. So it's after midnight for Sip because he's in Japan, and then Bull.
Yeah.
It's I woke him up because it's early on a Sunday. Yeah, so I appreciate both of them for spending the time here with me and with all of you. But this is a very fun sort of episode, or a topic that Sip brought up many months ago, and he's like, "Hey, we should talk about this." But we all have benefited from the hobby, either emotionally, socially, or if you're an entrepreneur, or someone that makes money through the hobby, designer, both of you, vendor bowl, it's nice to grow relationships, whether it be for personal gain or for work. The hobby is so unique in that somebody can become like a fledgling hobbyist, and then they learn all these things through the community, through people that are super helpful. Again, both of these gentlemen. And some of them even eventually try their hand into designing or vendoring. And for the most part, people are super supportive. It's very easy to point out the bad people in the hobby, right? Because there's so much positivity in general. But yeah, Sip, I'm curious what your experiences have been and why you think it's so important to have these relationships and how it's helped you as a person, how it's helped you business wise, and why this hobby is so great, man. And I don't want to put you on the spot if you want to think about it.
It's fine. It's fine. So I guess it's actually a very good fit because the name of the podcast is Good Keyboard Friends. So in and of itself, it shows how the hobby can bring people together, not only because you share a hobby, because anything can do that, anything can pull people in without necessarily having them interact. So you can go to the gym, you can stay in your spot, you can go rock climbing, and all of the other things. It can be sports, can be a hobby, can be anything else. But I think the keyboard hobby is quite unique because it's one of those good ending stories where you have random people all over the place, could be the same country, across an ocean. They just find keyboards, they chat online about it, and out of nowhere, they figure out that, oh, you guys live like 5 cities from my place. Let's meet up and bring our keyboards. Or, oh, there's a meetup nearby. Let's go to the meetup. So it's probably one of the few hobbies that I think can bring people that are very far apart from each other, like geographically, relatively close, both from a human point of view, but also in the case of someone that is a designer or like a business person, it can actually create quite a lot of possibilities to grow a business if you do it right. If you try to scale up too fast, then it gets tricky, and you might end up being the bad guy. Not because you're inherently a bad person, but simply because you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, things get bad pretty fast. And that's the only thing that people remember. As you said, there are few people that are bad in the hobby, and they stand out pretty fast. I'd say, especially when things start to go sideways. Anywhere, everyone's like, "Oh, this is getting tricky," or "I'm not really convinced about this and that." So it's also nice that within the community, you can spot quite fast people that are bad actors, but even faster people that are just good human beings. We always hear about people meeting up, making friends, having fun. So I think that's a thing that gets overlooked in the hobby. We always think about the next project, the next board coming up, or the board that I ordered 5 years ago and it's not here yet. But I think the hobby is 90% actually just human interaction. And that's the thing that I like the most about the hobby. I don't really care about like the keyboards. I don't have that many keyboards. I have my HHKB, a couple of boards that I designed the PCBs for that I really like. But apart from that, I don't buy keyboards. I don't buy keycaps. I don't have stabilizers. I have nothing. I'm in the hobby for the people mainly. not because I want that specific keyboard or I want to make that thing, you know.
I agree. I agree with what you said. Before we get to Bull's thoughts on it, these are just my experiences, but I've been in a lot of hobbies that don't really have that meetup aspect to it. I know gaming, yeah, you can go to gaming conventions, or you play in Super Smash Brother tournaments and things like that. But this is absolutely the very first hobby that I've noticed that, hey, I'll drive or fly 6 hours to West Virginia, or to my friend, and drive up to West Virginia for a meetup and things like that. Um, it's super awesome, dude. And speaking of someone that has flown and driven to West Virginia, Bull, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I agree. I agree a lot. Like, especially for people who like, I think it's also a unique aspect in that it allows people to make something without really any. You can kind of put in as much as you want or as little as you want. Like, if you want to just design something and make it yourself, you could design and 3D print a keyboard case tomorrow. Like, and I think it's really fun because there's a lot of open source things like Cipulot's PCBs. You could design a case for that and then 3D print it and have it built. And you don't need to go through a whole big process to like make something that you can be proud of your own. Or you can go like on accident like me and design stuff and then show some people and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you kind of just keep designing stuff and then make it into a business if you want. I never expected to kind of be a business owner, especially not in keyboards, but then it just kind of happened and I'm just here for the ride, I guess. But yeah, I think it's really, but I agree also with where it's a lot about making friends and meeting people. Like, I think it's definitely kind of similar to you. It's like the first hobby I have where it's like you make like real friends that aren't like in your local area, because like it's easy to meet people in real life and like kind of get to know them just by seeing them face to face. But like to find people and actually make friends that not only do you talk to them online like all the time, but you also do like everybody puts in the effort to meet each other. And I think it's really nice in that way because it's like they're real friends. Like if somebody wants to fly 3 hours to come meet you, it's like, okay, like this person actually cares about wanting to see you, not just like talk about your keyboards. Like it's like about spending the time together. Like for example, the Novel Keys trip, like it was a 3-night thing. The meetup was 4 hours, but it was a 3-night trip. We spent like 3 days together. It was just like really nice. Like, so the meetup was part of it, but it was just an excuse really to hang out. So I think that's a really fun part about it.
That's great. I'm always aware of this. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I've had a lot of sales jobs. So I used to work at a bank, and they kept pushing us to try and sell accounts, either to new members or existing members. And then I had a stint in telemarketing sales, like the call center type deal. Horrible. But I'm always aware when someone is actively trying to sell me something without making that relationship first, as opposed to, yeah, maybe you don't have to become friends with every single person you meet that you want to sell your business to or sell your product to. But the opposite, it works on me. It works on a lot of people. There's a reason why you like to build that relationship first, and then maybe if you even have something to sell or to provide for them, you bring that up. But Bro was saying how he never intended on becoming someone that, I guess, made money, so to speak, from the hobby. Sip, did you ever intend on doing that, or were you just here for the
No.
feels? Okay,
Not
okay,
at all.
yeah.
It's actually quite fun because so I guess for me, looping back on you recognize if someone is trying to push you into buying something. For me, at least, the beginning of the like commercial part of the hobby for me was actually quite early after I made the first replacement PCBs. So I started just because I just had spare time, and I really wanted to make something completely of my own for my HHKB back then. Then when I started to post pictures in the Conical server, So that's the Discord server for Topre and Real Force and all of that. There were a lot of people interested in trying it. So I wasn't actually trying to sell anything to anyone. I wasn't planning in making runs, even private ones. It was literally I ordered 5 PCBs from JLC and I'm set. So it was interesting to see people actually approaching me and saying, hey, I'm interested in buying PCBs from you. And that was a dynamic that I wasn't really expecting. Especially because I wasn't really involved in the community. I just joined and said, hey guys, I made this thing. It's pretty cool. And that's it. So the first run that I did for the PCBs was purely private run. And I think it dawned on me that this could actually be a viable commercial option for me when I received like probably 20x the numbers of PCBs that I thought I was gonna sell, and that actually put a lot of pressure on me because I wasn't really ready for the first one. I bought a bunch of boxes. I think it took me like a year to fulfill the entire order, simply because between customs back in Europe and shipping stuff out and packaging and all of that, it was just way too much work for me. So that was a very fast learning experience for me. It did go well. It could have been worse. It could have ended very badly. I could have basically ended my commercial. Yeah, I could have ended my commercial career even before officially launching it. Yeah. Like at one point, I had like PCBs in my kitchen, PCBs in the bathroom. Like I had so much stuff and packaging material all over the place that for at least half the year, the living room was like unavailable to anyone. When you open the door, there's like bubble wrap and boxes and stuff. I just put my head down and just went to my room to sleep, and that's it. Yes, it was a learning experience. Then from that point, I decided right away that, okay, if the interest is still there and it didn't die out, I would have tried to set up like a company to be legal, of course, but also have sales channel. So the first one and still ongoing is Canon Keys. Thanks to James, AKB James, because we were in contact before sending this whole business up. So he helped quite a lot on that point. And yeah, from there, just more projects, more people interested, started making more connections, especially in Asia. Yeah, so it's been a wild ride, and hopefully it's gonna be a long one. Yeah, it was interesting to see how things evolved quite quickly, especially after the pandemic, because this was after COVID, like right after COVID, when people started to like go outside and lockdowns were lifted and all that. So it was a very uncertain time for me. So I'm grateful it played out well.
I want to ask you real quick before I ask Bull the same thing, and then the next question. Can you tell me what you were thinking when you got the 20x order for the PCB, like the very first, like, were you like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit?
Actually, I was quite scared that I would not be able to actually pay the invoice for the PCB manufacturer. Not because I didn't have the funds and all that, but again, because I was in contact with James, it was right at the same time where he had issues with PayPal. I think he already told the story. So basically, PayPal locked his funds and had to sue them and all that. And me naively, I used PayPal because it was just the easiest way for me to get all the funds. And the moment I was getting to like 50 to 60% of the invoices paid, that's when James told me about all the issues. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like they're going to lock my account. I will 100% not be able to take out the money. Then not only I don't have PCBs on hand, but also the clients will be rightfully so mad at me. So that was probably the most stressful time in my business, even though the business wasn't actually launched. But yeah, that was a jump scare to say the least.
Oh, dude, I love how both of you share a similar story in terms of, hey, I'm just gonna start off small. I made this thing. Are you interested in it? Or someone's like, hey, I'm interested in it. You should sell these. And then all of a sudden, boom, you two are pillars of the community now. Bull, what was the very first thing? I know you talked about it in our very first episode or the second episode that you were actually like a guest, but what were your thoughts going into selling your first item and then just building those relationships in general to eventually make money instead of just just be obvious?
Well, I had the same problem actually with PayPal. So
oh no,
I ran it, right, and I did it. I didn't have a vendor or anything set up, so I like just did it. I literally made a Google form and then you filled it out and all that stuff, and then I sent in invoices, and then I had sent like, I think there was total like 20, right? So I sent like 10 of them and they paid, and then it was like your account's locked due to suspicious activity. And then I was like, oh, nice.
Yep.
So then luckily they let me refund everybody, but they kept the fees, and then I had to pay back the extra fees. So basically it was fee twice. So I lost like 10% on everything just out of pocket. And I was like, oh, nice. That's really great. So then I was like, I reran it again using friends and family payment. So like then obviously like I wouldn't recommend joining a friends and family group by the way, like unless you really know the person. But people did it. So then it was fine because then there's no like regulation, I guess, with PayPal, at least in the US. So that worked out. But yeah, like that was really stressful for sure. Just like seeing it's like, why your account's locked and then PayPal has no support. So like you're just like, okay, great. I'm just out all this money. And the most stressful part is, like you said, like I don't have the keyboards or the money to give it back at first. But then luckily they let me refund it. But I was like if they didn't, what do you do? It's like, that's insane. But yeah, that was kind of the first project. And then I was like, okay, so I'm not going to do that again. So then I ran a few group buys just with friends and family payment. And then I finally set up the storefront. Now it's way easier. It's easier to keep track of. Everything's easier when you have a real sales channel set up. So it's like, I should have done it way sooner because I was like, it's like kind of daunting to set up. But then once you set it up, it's like, oh, I should have done this sooner. But
yeah. Hey, CJ.
This one's Grayson. Say hi, Grayson.
I love it because, again, I'm not saying that you can't go the other way and just sell instead of build relationships, but the fact that AKB James was a friend of Sip's, or Sip, he helped Sip out as friends because you had that relationship just as not coworkers, but just, hey, help me with this, have questions with that. And like Bull talked about on the Bull episode, he had people that helped him out when he was getting to things like that too. Do you two like that method first, building the personal relationships before possibly turning them into like working relationships? It's still friends, I'm not saying that you're working with everybody that you become a friend with, but I feel like that's super that's a great way to go about it. Like friends, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I can make money out of this. So
yeah, I guess usually I guess it kind of happens on accident where it's like, maybe like, for example, like I sent Scoop Bar keyboard to review, and then after we were like talking, and now we're friends, and I went to his house for the meetup. So it's like it was kind of I guess first it was business technically, but
Yeah.
it's like then now we hardly talk about, like, I'll tell him what I'm sending him for the next review, but most of the time we're just talking about whatever else is going on in life. So like, I think it goes both ways, like where a lot of stuff happens like that in an accident where you're working together professionally and then you just become friends. But then also like there's people I've worked with where it's like they were kind of similar to me where they didn't have a necessarily business setup or something like that. But then once they started, then it was like, okay, like, yeah, let's work together on something or like check something over. So it's just kind of, it all feels like it happens on accident, I guess, for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful that both of you took it one step at a time instead of like scaling too fast, too quickly, you know, scaling too large too quickly. This is like, I'm trying to be as positive as possible, but is that the reason why most of the vendors or designers fail? They try and scale too quickly, or I understand because it is scary if like shit goes sideways and like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do? It's scary to communicate, right? I'm not saying that what's the name? The person in New York. What's that?
New York. A
New
vendor?
York?
Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying
Giggle.
Mexico, yeah, or
Giggle.
space in Texas. I'm not like absolving them of any blame, but I can understand why there's a lot of pressure. Like, oh shit, things are going sideways. We're running out of money, and then you go silent,
Yeah.
and that fucks everybody over.
I think it's a little bit like from a vendor standpoint, it feels like overcommitting to stuff without the means to do so. Because like for me, if a project isn't gonna, at some point you have to just accept that a project isn't gonna work. You know, like if you run a keycap group buy and it sells 20 sets and the MLQ is 250, it's like, all right, you got to throw the towel in. You can't force everything to work. Like that's part of working in a business is like accepting that not all projects work, and it's important to recognize that early rather than when it's too late. Because like I think basically the bad side, if you ever run a project to raise funds to finish another project, then you're already one step out the door. I think it's like that's not going to work. It's just going to be a cycle. It's like taking loans to basically from customers to finish something that you already should have had the money for in the first place. So it's like, I feel like, at least for me, it's always like really important. Like if I'm considering a project, I have to, one, accept that could be canceled, and two, like, make sure that there's always enough money to make something either refunds or finish the project somehow. And it's hard to do when it's your project, you know, if you've spent a lot of time on it and you're like passionate about it, it's like, you want it to work. So like if it's hard to accept that maybe you hope the demand was higher and then it turns out you and only 4 people like the design. So it's, you know, maybe then, but then at that point it's like, there's still ways to do something, you know, like you could make a private run for those people. It's not like there's always, and it's not a reason to quit just because one thing doesn't work, you know, it's like, it just didn't work. It's okay. You can start again, do another project. But I do think when you bring up the vendors, and like, I think to keep it positive is like all the vendors that I like have known since before I was even really in the hobby and like that are still around now. It's like, it feels like a common vein is that they all started kind of by accident, or like they started with something they were passionate about. Like, for example, like Omnitype or like Novel Keys, like Omnitype's keycap sets, like that's kind of what they're known for, is like all the Moto, those kind of sets. And it's like they started it with their passionate design, and then it turned out other people liked it, and now they're still here working on projects that they're passionate about as well, like the bringing on Clever and like doing the Dynacaps. It's like you can really tell that these guys they really like the product first, but then they also care about making sure it works for everybody. So like I think it's kind of a sign of, in a hobby like this, when people are passionate about it and not just in it for making money. Because like when you start a project like that, you have to accept that it could fail, and like you can tell that's what they're doing. And it's like, because you don't know if everybody's going to like your EC kits, but like they still dove in and did it. And like, I think it's really cool, and making it in stock and everything, it's really not risky for other customers. So in my opinion, that's kind of the vendors that stick around, is the ones that are doing it for something they're passionate about, working on stuff they're passionate about, and then also like bringing on designers who are also passionate about what they're making. Because like you also don't want to be a vendor and only vendor your designs, or you can, but it's hard to. That's where it's hard to make enough money to be a like full-time vendor, because like you can only run so many things of your own. So like I think it's important to bring on people that are just as passionate as you and use their designs and not just pushing for making profit.
I agree. Hold on to that passion thought, but I want to get to Sip real quick because I cut you off. I'm sorry, Sip. What were you saying regarding
No worries.
the bad actors and stuff?
So I guess looking back on like how does the relationship starts, I think for most of the people in the hobby, it starts as like chatting friends, people that you know from the server, you made at the meetups and all that. And usually every person has their own thing, So for example, James was designing his own boards. I was doing my PCBs. But of course, whenever you're chatting behind the scenes, similarities pop up. So for example, the PayPal issue. Now we have 3 people with the same issue. And it's just reassuring to know that other people had the same experience and they can help you through the process. And I think it's easier if you start as someone interested in the hobby, that is part of the hobby as a hobbyist, to then go into the commercial route. Because if you try to force yourself too much, you are either like super big already, so you have a big financial structure behind you that can afford you to enter the market in a very aggressive way, or can back up any issue that can come along. So as Bol said, what if some issues come up during production? What if the manufacturer doesn't want to ship the stuff? What if money are getting locked? So if you enter without the connections, and by connections, I don't necessarily mean knowing that manufacturer, that vendor, and all of that, but mainly public perception, like the connection with the community, the possible buyers, because the initial buyers are people that are already in the hobby or in a specific field. So, for example, for EC, a lot of people that buy EC are pre-existing customers, quote unquote. They already know what they're getting into. They already know what to expect. And one of the things that was key in this Dynacap launch, for example, is that we were trying to pull in both seasoned expert hobbyists in the EC scene with the user base that OmniType has, because OmniType is a huge vendor. They ran a lot of projects. They have the Bauer Light lineup. They have the keycaps and all of that. So I think this is one of the perfect examples where a guy interested in one field meets with another guy that is interested in another field. They come together, they like each other's product, and they say, let's see if the market wants this. If they want it, great. If they don't want it, let's move to other stuff, So I think the majority starts as friends and then move on to business. But it is totally possible to do the opposite. I think it's easier for the opposite to happen if you're already in the hobby. So, an example of Bol, he sent a keyboard for a review, and then from there, the relationship started. For me, for example, with Kevin from Type Plus, it was the opposite. So, it started as a business relationship. Now I can say that we are friends. I went to his home, met his dogs and cats and all that. So it was quite interesting and quite a different approach to relationship for me, because I have not that many of the classic "oh, we like the same thing" happen to me. and especially even less the opposite. So business becoming then friends. So it was quite interesting to see how the entire thing evolved in relatively short time. I would say it's like a year for Kevin at least, and same for Clever. Clever, I actually came to know Clever because he wanted to make a conversion of, I think it was the derivative, and he made a PCB for it, and he asked questions and suggestions and all that, and from there we just started chatting here and there, and that shifted into, I'd say, not really business, but like, oh, I have an idea for this thing. Oh yeah, I thought about it. We can work together, you know. But with Clever, it was actually a parallel relationship, both from a humane point of view and also business. So we help each other with projects. We know each other. We've met multiple times by now. So there's not only friends then business and business then friends, but also parallel. That can happen if you meet the right person. You can totally do both of them in parallel if you guys are synced up on ideas, passions, and all that. That's totally a thing that can happen as well.
I remember seeing the Blue Ridge EC keyboard on Geekhack for the first time. I was not aware of Clever at all until that point. And I thought to myself, wow, this is different. You can see what Bull was talking about. You can see the passion. It wasn't a very generic board that's been done many times over. Nothing wrong with those, of course. But when something unique pops up, oh wow, this is unique. This is different. I love what you both alluded to, and it's meeting the right people, especially if they're passionate. I feel like with a lot of jobs or a lot of situations, if someone has the drive and the passion, you can learn everything else, or you can learn a lot of the other things. You can learn the skills. You can learn how to become a business, or how to set up an LLC, or things like that. You have the passion, you have the drive, you have the will. You can do a lot of things. I'm wondering, again, not everybody that you become friends with, you work with in a professional sense, but I'm wondering if you two have ever had a situation, you don't have to name names, where it was difficult to maybe separate the personal relationship with the work relationship. I know there's a saying that you don't get into business with friends, but that's not always the case. Like that's not true 100%.
I mean,
or how do you have those difficult conversations if someone's like, I don't know, for the lack of a better word, slacking, and they're your friend? Or has that ever happened?
I'd say it's not an issue of slacking because, to be frank, something dropped. To be frank, if we get to a point where either party is slacking, then I would say personally, we would not have reached that point. I would have caught up immediately that, oh, this guy is not for me. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah.
I don't want to say that I'm too selective with the relationships that I have, but I don't do it voluntarily. It just happens. I guess it's just a matter of connection, after a call or after a meeting, or just seeing the guy chatting in a server. So I never actually had the issue of having to call up a buddy and say, hey, it's time to work.
Yeah.
I'd say that would be actually quite easier to manage because it's an objective truth. Things are not getting delivered. That's an issue. The worst one, I'd say, is when you have disagreements, but it's not to a point where they are opposite point of views. Because again, those are pretty easy to spot. If you think that A should be done and the other guy thinks that B should be done, then for me at least, it's easier to manage. It's worse when you guys are pretty aligned, but you start to see things that might become an issue down the line, and the other party doesn't recognize the issues or underestimates the issues. And that really gets to me because I'm not really sure how to communicate that without sounding like an asshole. Like, I don't want to say, "Oh, you're not seeing the issue. This is gonna be an issue in like 2 years." I don't want to be too direct because I want for the other party to like get to it by understanding that it's an issue, not by simply being told that it's an issue. Because if the issue is not recognized, then anything that should be done and implemented to fix that, it's not going to be done in a way that actually fixes the issue. If you don't have an understanding of the thing that we are talking about, then the things can only escalate. That's the worst part for me when doing business with people that I know, because if it's only business related, it's pretty easy. Are you delivering on time? Are you paying on time? Are you satisfied? That's it. Those are the three main things. But when you're doing designs and you have a 50-50 skin in the game, then it gets tricky because you can't really pull out of the job, but you can't even stay in too long without raising the issues.
Yeah, like putting a Band-Aid on it if the underlying problem isn't like addressed. That makes sense.
It's not even a Band-Aid for me, because it's a little bit more subtle. And those, I think they are the worst kind of issues that can happen in a relationship. It's saying little things that create a pattern. And you're like, "Oh, I don't really like this," but I have no nice way to say it without sounding completely different from the guy that you talk to every day. Like if we say, "Hi, how you doing? Oh, you walked your dog? Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, I saw a bird just slamming its head on the floor," like whatever. And then we say, "Oh yeah, by the way, so I think this is an issue and you're not taking it seriously." Sounds like a switch,
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you have like multiple personalities and you're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, today I'm feeling like an asshole, so I'm gonna tell you that you're not doing a good job." Yeah, and oh yeah, I'm hot for lunch. I'm gonna have a pizza. See you later. Like there are times where I really want to say that to some people, but I can't get myself to do it. I think whenever that happens, it's gonna be like my last 6 months in the hobby, and then I'll just nuke everything. Like, because if I get to that point, I know that I'm either burned out or like I don't enjoy it anymore. So at that point, I just don't care. Whoever I made friends with, they're gonna still be friends and chat here and there and all that. But like the business relationship are gonna be done for good.
I want to ask you, Bull,
Yes.
about your thoughts in general, just because, like, again, both of you alluded to this hobby is very collaborative based. You work with a lot of people, knowingly or unknowingly, for this or that project. And have you ever had to say, "Hey, trying to your business"?
Yes, unfortunately, a few times with people not doing their job pretty much, and it's kind of like, well, like what Sip was saying with like getting discouraged from it. I think it's important to like have like make a boundary of at what point does you slacking affect, not just like it's not friendly now, like we can be friends, but like you can't be screwing us both over here by not doing your job. So it's like it's kind of like it is a difficult conversation, but I think it's important to have it earlier than later. And I think most of the people you make friends with are like you know. So like, if you like, I think Sip and I are both like pretty driven to make stuff happen, make it quick, make it good, you know. So like, you kind of end up with people around you that are the same way. So like, usually it's not an issue most of the time. But like, for example, like lube switches obviously was a problem. So I was working with him, and then there was like, we went to the Texas meetup together and stuff, and it was like, that was before like he was really scamming. But like before, there had been times though where stuff was like, people had issues with the Sarah coding or whatever, and I had no connection to it, but I was like, hey, like, is this an issue? Like, if we're gonna work together, like, I don't want people asking me why you're not Sarah coding their keyboard. Like, that's not my job, that's your job, and you have to figure this out. Because like, it's just like, I just kind of talked to him. I was like, hey, like, we have to have some sort of expectation of like quality and like what you're going to provide, because I don't want a reputation tanked because I'm working with somebody who doesn't do their job. So it's kind of like that, where it's like, it's a difficult conversation, but it was like at least worth bringing up, I guess. And like, obviously, ultimately, you saw where that went with him. But then like, another example was with Streamline. So I designed this keyboard, and it has like the watch pattern on the back, and it was like $2,000 or something insane. So it's like, so I charged him a commission fee to design it, and then as like a royalty for the group I wanted a unit. So still haven't received it, and it's been like over a year. And like, the worst part is he has the cases and the weights. He just doesn't have like, I don't know, he doesn't have like the gaskets and the PCBs or something because he didn't order them. But he sent everybody the cases for the keyboard, but not the like coolest part, like the weights, but they're just at his house. So I posted, so there's like a private channel or whatever, and I posted and I was like, I will fulfill this for everybody because I know he has everything. So if he can send PCBs to my forwarder, he can send me the weights, and then I will pack everything securely and send it to everybody. And he just needs to pay me like $10 per package or whatever, and like get it done. And he just didn't even respond to the message. And like, I wasn't really ever friends with him. Like, we had chatted a little bit, but like, I feel like that's like the bare minimum of what he should, like, I don't know. It's just like, to me, it's like, it feels so incomprehensible when people don't do their job. Like, you signed up for a job and you need to finish it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not something I would want to live with myself for. Like, aside from fulfilling customers, it's like the like guilt of not doing it would be really difficult for me. So like, those are, it's kind of times where you're just like, hey, like, I feel like even if they are your friends, sometimes you got to kind of slap people back into shape and be like, hey, like, you're kind of slacking here. And like, and sometimes it's not even just from the perspective of hurting myself too. Like, it's like, you want the best for your friends also. So it's like even like, hey, do you need like help with something? Like with the Streamline situation, that I wasn't really offering to help him. You know, I want the people to get their keyboards, but you know, sometimes like there's stuff you can offer to people that maybe they're bogged down and like they just need a little help, and like you can help them. And like, I think that's also what friends are for. But like, yeah, it's like most of the time you kind of surround yourself, or like I've experienced surrounding myself with people who have a similar mindset. And like, yeah, we'll have disagreements like on a design, but I think that's like where Cipulot was saying, where they need to understand the issue. So like, if there's like a CAD issue and it's like, this literally, we can't do this. Like, okay, this, and here's why. So like, I'll explain why, or the reasons it's not a good idea. And then you just have a conversation about it, and then both sides kind of bring their points, and then hopefully you can compromise, or both realize that maybe the project isn't worth pursuing because you don't want to. It's also where it's not worth jeopardizing a friendship over a project. Especially like, you can always make a new project. Like, you don't. That's where it's like, don't do business with friends, is you don't want to force stuff, because forcing stuff, it could cost the friendship when it can start over something so small and silly. Like, that just kind of put it aside, like step back from the situation and realize that what do you care more about, like the friendship or like this one little project? Like, probably not the little project.
The opposite of that, how good does it feel when you are friends with someone and they do just a fantastic fucking job? Those times where everybody's on point, everybody's super professional, everybody's on their A game, and it feels so good to make a project together.
Yeah.
How are those experiences like?
It's kind of like, it's like you almost want everybody, because most of the time you don't live by each other. It's almost like we should all fly to one place and like celebrate here. Like, let's like have a fun time. But like, obviously it's not always feasible, but like there's a lot of times where you're like, yeah, we did a good job. Like, customers are going to love it, or they do love it if it's already shipped. And it's like, yeah, like this went really well. And those are, I mean, that's what keeps you coming back, right? Like, for doing a project, it's like, this was great. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Sip? Because I imagine that you guys have high standards, which is fantastic. And I can just imagine everything may not go as planned, but everybody steps up, everybody gets this shit together, and you just deliver on a fantastic product. How good does that feel, Sip?
It feels rewarding. For me, it's more temporary, I guess. Simply because like the PCBs, at least for me, they're not seen. I can put in a week of effort to make it look good and how I like it and all of that, but at the end of the day, it's just part of a project. I guess the best part is not actually when things get delivered for me, but it's when we have an issue that we are trying to fix, and we might spend like 3 nights not sleeping and doing CAD work and checking if clearances are correct and thinking about how the design can be improved and all that. And whenever we have the spark of the idea that brings it all together, that's my reward point. That's when I say, okay, I'm feeling confident that this will work, without hopefully any issues with like manufacturing and all of that. That's what we do it for. Some wants to have their designs on client stable. Some wants to have a keyboard that will last forever. That's what we do it for. The money, it's part of it, of course. But again, you wouldn't start a business from a hobby if you're not enjoying it. Because at that point, you're just a businessman. You're just someone that enters the market to make money. But I feel the keyboard hobby is one of the few scenes where customers understand it pretty fast if you're coming from the community or if you are from outside. It's clear in the designs. It's clear in the level of communication and transparency that you have with the buyers. It's clear when you have issues and you're trying to work them out. So that's also part of why the keyboard hobby specifically is extremely good. There are other scenes that is like thinker based. There's an actual object that is the core of the hobby, that they're not the same as the keyboard hobby. We have people that buys the keyboard because they love the design, others because they want the most badass looking keyboard. And it's very interesting to see how the different needs of the person come together to actually create such an amazing community.
Yeah. I love it. You guys are awesome. I love the stories of getting into the hobby and then going further and further, even though you don't have to, like you said, right? You can just enjoy the hobby for the hobby. But if you want to design, if you want to learn about CAD or Fusion, I'm not saying that you have to eventually sell a bunch of keyboards, but getting to the point where you're able to learn all these things thanks to the people in the hobby, giving their ideas, or you're reaching out and them helping you. It's just so awesome. Being able to go from there all the way to there, like it's an ongoing journey, right? You two are always learning, you two are always improving, but it's so fantastic to see both of you and many other people start from the ground up. instead of going in and just trying to sell things, which is fine. Like you said, that's totally fine. Sometimes
it's totally
works.
fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
I guess my last tangent is meetups, man. How awesome are meetups? And do you notice a commonality between meetups besides just enjoying it? Like everybody's tied together, right? Everybody's enjoying the same hobby, just different ways or different places.
I'd say depending on where you're going, meetups are different, but the same at a base core level. I think there's a common understanding by now that meetups are not for the keyboards. Like it's an excuse to meet up people. You see at every meetup, if you're going to the same edition or location, you see new people every time. You see the usual guys bringing their own boards and all that, but you see a lot of new people coming in. Even though the hobby is objectively going on a downhill, like popularity-wise, there's always someone new joining servers and figuring out that, oh, you can actually go and meet people. I think the differences are, apart from the actual keyboard shown, it's the stories behind those people. So a classic example is the Japanese community. The Japanese community is super weird from an outsider perspective because they have all of these super weird layouts, custom stuff, and some of them are not even keyboards. Like they're literally just blocks, and you press them in different ways, and it types stuff. And when you start to talk with the people at the meetups, you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a banker, or I'm a musician." It's interesting to see the various demographics just coming together to show off what they're doing. So it's very rewarding from for it personally, at least, to see so many people from so many different backgrounds just enjoying the awards and enjoying other people's work as well. It's super nice to see people that don't stay at their table to show off their thing, but they actually circle around the venue to just see what that flashy keyboard is like. Seeing artisans, seeing people doing cases made out of leather. That's the most interesting part about the meetups, and also the most diverse one. Because you might think, oh, it's another TKL, but maybe there's a story behind it. There's a special engraving that the commissioner wanted to have, or they have some special colorway because that color is very special to them. So the core of meetups is just to go outside and meet people. Keyboards are literally just an excuse to get an entry ticket. That's it.
Oh, that's great. That's a great quote. I'm taking that sip as a quote. Keyboards are just an entryway to meet people. That's great. Bull, what are your thoughts on meetups in general?
Yeah.
Why you love them?
Well, obviously I love them, but yeah, like I think it's the same. Like it's always just an excuse to either meet up with friends again, or meet them in real life for the first time, but also just meet new people. Also, like for example, we were both at the Milwaukee meetup in October, and I was talking. I'm not really into artisans at all, but then I was talking to people, and they were showing me their collections, and I was like it's like, yeah, I can, you can really appreciate it. And then they're really passionate about it. It's like they'll tell you this backstory behind each one, and it's like that's really cool. Like I didn't know anything. Like just looking at the keycap, like you can appreciate the detail of it, but then like to hear the whole backstory that you really have to hear in person is kind of what also makes it special to like hear something like either their personal backstory or even just what they know about like the designer of the keycap or something like that. But then also like seeing like people's actual builds too, they kind of can explain how they got to where they are. Like some people, like maybe they won it at a different meetup and then they bring it and like they're really excited about it. And that's kind of the really fun part. And then also like if people, it's also cool to see people like make their own stuff and then bring it there. Just like if they 3D printed some crazy case and then like hand wired it, or they made like a Franken switch, that kind of stuff too. It's like those things you really appreciate in person. And I'm just talking about keyboards because obviously the main thing is just seeing people. But I didn't want to beat a dead horse and say the same thing. But I think those that is by far the most fun part. And I think the most fun meetups for me are the ones where you get a opportunity to really talk to people, because like at the Korean Expo, it's more of an expo than a meetup. Like they had the small section for the Korean community members to put their keyboards, but like otherwise it was mostly just like kind of booths with like either manufacturers, vendors, that kind of stuff. So I like the smaller ones like that, where I like to have the vendors where you can kind of hear their pitch, their little elevator pitch. That's fun. But I think the more fun ones for me are where it's mostly just open tables. Because like usually I'll get a vendor table so that I don't hog an entire table with keyboards I want to bring. But then half the time I just leave it anyways and just go walk around, because I think that's the fun part.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I've never experienced an expo. I've never experienced a big meetup. It's only been Iowa, Minnesota, and Milwaukee. So I've had the smaller meetup experience.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking fantastic. It's funny because everybody has a story, right? It doesn't matter if you're a big name. It doesn't matter if you're Bull, if you're Sip. Somebody may come to a meetup and share just the coolest story, and they're not really like in the public view, in the public light. And it's just so awesome to hear those stories, because at the end of the day, like we all talk about, we all share in the same hobby. We all enjoy the same hobby, whether we enjoy 40s, EC, big boards, expensive boards. We're all together. We're all enjoying the hobby as one. I think it's sometimes difficult to see that common ground, because we all have our differences, right? For example, say I hate EC boards. I'm like, oh, Sip, EC boards are shit. I hate them. And then Sip's like, oh no, EC boards are good. And then maybe there's some friction, because I don't like this, but you like this. But at the end of the day, it's just all part of the same hobby. We have our differences. We have our opinions. I think if we're, I'm not saying this is a problem at all, but I feel like if ever someone is in a situation where they get angry or mad about someone else's preferences, just maybe take a step back and put yourself in their shoes, try and understand where they're coming from. Okay, so Sip likes EC PCBs because of this. Oh, okay, I didn't think about that. I guess I don't 100% hate EC PCBs, just this specific part, and then get to talking. But it's cool to hear how the hobby has impacted people that may not have a lot of friends in real life, or may not have a lot of personal, what's the word? They may not be able to talk to a lot of people, or most of their interactions are online. In this day and age, is very common. And it's cool to see them grow as people because of the hobby. For example, if I'm 15 years old, I don't know anything, I make friends with Bull and Sip, and they teach me, I don't know, how to become a good human, how to set goals, how to work hard, how to have passion. It's cool that happens. The people that you surround yourself, they do make an impact on your life, especially if you're super young, or things like that. But easy question to end it: how has the keyboard hobby community impacted both of your lives? Whoever wants to start first.
Like going on quick about what you're saying, where if you don't maybe have as many friends in real life, but then you can go to a meetup. It's also kind of like maybe a humbling experience for people, because you're all meeting up to do this nerdy thing, like you're all on the same playing field. So like even if you could have somebody, you could have like a movie star come to your meetup, but they're still at a keyboard meetup. So like it's like almost you're all there for one reason, and that's why I think it's so easy to make friends, because like nobody's you're not thinking about your personal life necessarily. You're there about keyboards. If you're a beginner, like once you've been in it for a while, you're there for friends. But like if you don't have friends and you show up, you're gonna make friends. It just happens talking to people. And I think that's also the nice thing is like nobody's like super popular. Like everybody can make a friend, and there's no like outcasting. It's all everybody's, at least in my experience, everybody's been super friendly. And like every time I leave a meetup, I've made a new friend, even if I went in feeling like I knew everybody already. It's like there's always somebody new, like Sip was saying. But yeah, like in terms of how it's impacted my life positively, it's definitely just like I think I'm in a super like good situation, I guess, with being able to do it as a job. I know that's rare, but I think it's also like I don't want to say anybody can do it, but it's like it kind of feels like that because like even it wasn't planned, and yet here I am. I get to work on keyboards all day. It's just like it's super fun. It's like it shows if you're really passionate about something, and not even keyboards, but like it's worth trying. Like it's always worth trying something, and because chances are somebody's gonna like what you're working on, and even if they don't, you can do it for yourself. It's there's plenty of stuff I've made that I know nobody else wants, and I just want to make it, so I do, and that's kind of the fun part. It's like, but it's definitely benefited me like in pretty much every aspect of life, being able to like make new friends, obviously doing it for work, but just like, yeah, like you said, talking to people, you kind of learn, like, it just makes you a better person talking to people from other places also. Because like, think about, not many hobbies, or there are, but keyboards definitely brings like the whole world into it. So like I'm talking to people from other like Sips in Japan right now. It's like those kind of things. It's like you gain a lot of perspective from talking to people outside of just your small area, and I think it does make you a better person and a more well-rounded person who's like able to just consider stuff that isn't just in your life. And I think it's important to do, and the best way to do that is just talking to people who have lived different lives.
I love it. Thank you, Bull. Thank you so much. Sip, how has the hobby impacted you? And any tips and tricks you can give to people that like Bull was talking about, maybe scared of building relationships in this hobby? We're not scary, right? I think so.
We're not scary.
Some of us are. Yeah.
I mean, I share basically 100% of what Bull said. I think for me specifically, the perspective part is really the key, like development for me. First, getting to know people. I'd say the people aspect of the hobby is very important. And for keyboards, it's relatively easy to get along with people that are not from your local area, but they're like from Asia, they're from like America, Europe, Africa, even. The fact is that the keyboard is just a tool. It's just a piece of metal. We always joke that, oh, we are playing with metal rectangles, but it's literally true. There's no political aspect to it. There's no like deeply rooted meaning that could offend others. There have been like key sets and designs that were questionable, but those were like the red flags. Like 99.9% of the designs and key sets and all that is just people making things that they love. And I think there are other hobbies that can bring people together from all around the world, but keyboards are special because they are objectively good looking pieces and objects, and everything that comes with it afterwards is just the human component. It's, oh, why did you make this? Oh, it's because this and that. Why did you design this artisans? Oh, because I liked Pokemon when I was a kid. And from there you start to build a relationship, and the perspective part is the most important because there's a point where the communication needs to evolve from I like what you're doing to, okay, what about you personally? What do you love? What do you do in your spare time? And the pinnacle of the relationship for me is when you actually meet with them, whether it's at the meetup, whether it's like in a factory tour, perspective at that point gets changed radically. Perspective for the person themselves, but also their environment. You might have a preconcept for certain places in the world, but if you get to know someone from that place, then your perspective can change. It doesn't mean that you have to flip your moral compass or like decision making process based on that, but it helps you broaden your views and your understanding of others. And I think that's the most important part, other than making friends. Because you can have friends from other places, but I think it's the goal after that is to get in their shoes and understand how they're thinking, why they're thinking that way, and how that can affect you and better you in your own life.
Oh, man, that's very powerful. See, this is why I love this podcast, because you get amazing insights and stories from amazing people. Bull, Sip, truly, thank you. This whole year, we started in May, but basically this whole year has been just an amazing experience for me, Simon, Tangus, James. We know or knew of both of you, some more than others. Obviously, big relationship with Simon, since Simon's been around for a while. Sip's been around for a while. Bull knows Simon. Things like that. Just building these relationships, like we were talking about. These guys are fucking awesome. From meeting Bull, talking to Bull online to playing a card game in our Airbnb and then having breakfast after in Minnesota, right? Just super cool, super fun. What a privilege it is for me and for the three co-hosts to just have an awesome time, have awesome people on. Sip, Bull, everybody, all the guests.
Well, thanks for organizing it. I think this is a really, it's like the perfect, in my mind, this is like what I'd want out of a keyboard podcast, because you think about what can you really yap about for an hour about keyboards weekly or whatever. But I think it's really nice bringing people from, because I really enjoyed watching the other episodes, and I think it's just really good for people to see. So thanks for doing it, Hubert.
No, of course, and thank you. We like to end it. I didn't ask these two gentlemen to think of a good keyboard friend of the week, but I'm sure if anything comes to mind, everybody comes to mind, just go ahead and say it, because this will come out on around Christmas time, around the end of December. This will come out on the 21st of December in 2 weeks, or 20th. Yeah, 20th or 21st. 21st. We created this podcast to have awesome people on to share their stories. Bull and Sip many times. They're sometimes so awesome that we bring them on as guest co-hosts when somebody can't come on because of this or that, which is totally fine. It's so awesome. And we also like the podcast because it brings everybody together. It reminds everybody that we're all part of the same hobby. We all enjoy the hobby. It may be different, but at the end of the day, it's still, keyboards and making friends. But something else we also like is to shout out one person or some people or multiple people at the end of every episode to remind people that, good keyboard friends turn to be good friends in general. If you want to shout out somebody, just reach out to me, Tangus, James, Simon in Discord, on the YouTube videos, Instagram, whatever. Or you can go to Hugemeatbox.com, which is our link tree. It's safe for work. It's not going to give you any viruses or anything. It's literally our link tree. You click on the first link. It's a Google form. You input what your name is, who you want to nominate, and why you're nominating them. You don't have to dox yourself. You don't have to include personal information if you don't want to. But I'm going to read the excerpt for this week. Get into the podcast drive. Thank you, by the way, anybody that's shouted out, people that submitted things. We like to talk, right? But we also like to hear from you, the audience. There's a reason why this hobby is so great, and it's because of all of you. But this is actually for someone that was supposed to be here but was busy doing other things. the person that's nominated this person, his name is, it's either Ayman T or Ayman T, or I mispronounced both of those. They are nominating Gondo. So, woo! I'm gonna read their nomination. So Ayman or Ayman, I'm sorry. You can correct me in the comments or on Discord. Says, I had an issue when I first got my new F1 with the famous Gondo PCB, and I immediately was put in touch with him. He spent a long amount of time with me trying to fix the issue and made sure that everything was sorted with the flashing and QMK issues, and I could not be more appreciative, especially of the fact that he dropped everything to make sure that it was working optimally. And, I quote, if it's a Gondo PCB, I'll make sure it's working fine. So, thank you, Gondo. Thank you, Ayman, or Ayman. But yeah, anybody you two want to shout out for just being good person in general, or it could be in real life or it could be keyboard related. Go ahead, but if not, I'll end it. So, yeah.
Since
What about you, Paul?
Since it's almost the holidays, I'm gonna cheat and just say thank you to everybody for. I'm gonna.
Oh my god!
Last night I did a stream and did a little designing. We kind of went back and forth with viewers, and it was really awesome to literally working live. Basically, felt like working with people I've seen on Discord and on streams. So it was like reminded me of the community. So thanks to everybody who hangs out and is just active in the community in general. I don't remember specific usernames. That's why I'm cheating. So we'll go with that. But yeah, I just appreciate everybody that makes themselves involved, because it makes it better for everybody, I think. And it's really, I just want to make sure everybody knows they're welcomed, and it's nice to get to know more people. It's always never going to say no to making new friends.
Hell yeah. Sip, do you have anybody? I don't want to put you on the spot, so if not, that's totally fine.
I actually have one person. I mean, Clever, I think I already nominated Clever in previous times. So this time, I want to shout out Kevin from Type Plus. I mentioned before in the podcast that we met, quote unquote, for business first, but then this year, actually, I actually met Kevin. And funnily enough, I came to know that I was the first person in the keyboard sphere outside of China that he met. So that was quite the honor to be the first non-China based keyboard guy to meet him. And he is such an amazing guy. He's so passionate about the projects that he brings for Tap Plus. I've seen him doing some design work for the stabilizers that they have, the switches that they were making, and overall is such a great human being. He helped me like a lot. The first time that I went to China by myself, and I can't stop saying good things about him. He's very kind. We get along quite well, and he's helping me actually figuring out more about China that I could ever dreamed of, like getting to myself by myself also. So shout out to Kevin, and the cat and the dog. He has an entire fleet of cats and a dog that they're amazing. They're amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you, Kevin. Cats and dogs. Well, cats and dogs, or cats and dog?
Cats and dog.
Okay.
3 cats, 1 dog.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kevin. Your cats and dog, Gondo, and the amazing Bull community, keyboard community. You guys are awesome. But on behalf of myself, Simon, Tangus, James, Bull, and Sip, I hope everybody has a fantastic holiday season. Talk to you next week, and see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.